Hey, this week on TESTPLUG, we're interviewing Kris. He's an artist, graphic designer, tattoo slash graffiti guy. I don't know. You probably see his art around here and there. He's done some stuff with Vans and a couple other things. Currently living in Malesia. Kind of cool. And chat with him for a little while. I'm going to throw up some stuff before the interview starts. And thanks for watching TESTPLUG. How the heck are you, sir?
Pretty good, pretty good. All things considered, you know, the pandemic and everything. But
yeah, how are things there? Are they crazy, shut up, closed?
So like for the last almost 2 months now, we've been on like a partial lockdown where you can't travel between states. So like the way,
right.
Like Kuala Lumpur is where I live, like in the city center, and that's considered a state. And then they're like, if I go 30 minutes from here or whatever, like on the train, then you go into another state. Almost
gotcha.
like going to a suburb, really, but they call them states here. So you're not allowed to travel between states, but you can travel within your state. And everything is open, but they have like limit, like you're not allowed to have so many people inside restaurants or so many people inside places. And over here, nobody makes a big deal about it. But like we're back home, everyone will be like, "My freedom," you know, like because we know it's going away whenever. I mean, it's only like this while the pandemic is happening. So actually, this week they're supposed to announce whether or not they're going to lift the travel restrictions, which I really hope they do, because I've been apprenticing at one of my best friend's tattoo shops here, and I have to go through 2 states to get there. It's a 45-minute train ride, so I've been stuck at home during that time. But it's all right. Been painting a bunch. Drawing.
Catch up on some of the artwork project.
Yeah, not bad. So.
All right, well, that's a good segue. Get into art a little bit. How'd you get started? Were you a drawer as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I've loved drawing since I was a little kid, since like kindergarten. As early as I can remember, I was really into art and probably from like copying children's books. Like I really loved Dr. Seuss and like Where the Wild Things Are and Shel Silverstein books, like Lay in the Attic and all those books, you know. When I was a kid, I remember getting those and like trying to emulate how he drew and all of that. Yeah. But especially Dr. Seuss really got, you know, I love all.
Well, I mean, everything I've seen of yours, I'm trying to think if I've seen realistic artwork from your stuff. It's
all imagination. Yeah. No, I mean, in high school, I took like APR and stuff, and then I only went to a little bit of school. I'm mostly a self-taught. I went to a little bit of community college, and there I had to do some live drawing and stuff, but I always hated it and always just gravitated towards doing my own thing. But yeah, since I was a little kid, really, and then also comic books. Like I was really big into comic books as a kid. So, and I liked comic books like The Max. That was my favorite comic book as a kid.
Is amazing.
Yes, yeah, for sure. So that was also like huge influence all
Man, I
those.
knew there was more things I liked about you.
Yeah, I actually have the first Max over here up on the wall. It's one of
The
my
first
favorites.
thing I ever came across your artwork was for something I was looking up. Somebody was moving to Mexico, and I was looking up tacos or animated pictures of tacos.
Oh, okay, the animated
And I
GIF or
came
something.
across, well, it wasn't an animated gift. I was making almost like the alien antennas, but with tacos on the ends of them.
Okay,
And so I was just looking like for cute pictures of tacos, and that's how I came across your art.
that's
And
awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
and from then on, just has loved everything.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm originally from Texas, so I always throw a little bit of tacos in my stuff, and
that makes more sense now.
yeah, and and then when I got older, I was a graffiti writer, so I got really into graffiti. So that's also a huge influence on my work. So the comic books and cartoon stuff when I was a kid, and then as I got older, painting graffiti. So it was a huge influence. That's why I do murals and stuff as well with my work. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was art part of your family, or do you have other brothers and sisters that are into art? Or?
No, not at all. I have one sister, and she's not artistic at all. And I actually grew up like pretty rough, I'd say. Like my parents were both addicts and stuff, and I think for me, art was like a form of escape, really, from like all the nasty stuff at home. You know, I'd get lost in comic books and drawing and all that, or like, you know, being creative in whatever way. Also Legos when I was a kid. I was a huge Lego fan. Whatever I could do to be creative and kind of escape. So
yeah. It's funny how sometimes fantasy worlds are some of the best worlds.
For sure. Yeah. Make up a little alternate reality.
Yeah.
So
you started in Texas. Where did you go to from there?
Well, so I grew up in upstate New York in Syracuse, and then and Syracuse in a city called Oswego, right on Lake Ontario. And then I moved to Texas when I was 16, and I lived in Dallas. And then right after high school, I moved to Austin.
That's quite a change from New York to Dallas area.
Yeah, it was a huge change. At the time, I was really like against that. I was not happy about it. But my grandparents lived there, and things were pretty bad off with my mom. So they came and got us, and we moved to Texas. And actually, I'm glad we did now that looking back. But
I think hindsight.
And then so I lived in Dallas, and then after high school, I used to sing in like hardcore bands and like punk bands and stuff. And this band that I sang in, we moved to Austin together, and then I lived in Austin that's where I lived until moving overseas.
In Austin for a while.
What's that?
There's a pretty good scene in Austin for a while.
Yeah, Austin's a good music scene. Yeah, especially when I was there, the early 2000s. So I graduated high school in 2000 and moved there in 2001. And I was there till 2012, and before we moved overseas, we moved to Korea. So
nice. What brought Korea on?
My partner is an international school teacher, so we moved there, and she was teaching at an international school in Seoul.
Nice.
And then from there, we lived there for a year, and then we moved to Vietnam, to Ho Chi Minh City. Then we were there for 3 years, and then we moved to Tel Aviv for 2, and now we've been here for 2.5 years in Kuala Lumpur. Okay. It's been a pretty awesome journey.
It's funny too, 'cause each of those areas have such a different art scene and art like influence background. I'm sure it's influenced a lot of your stuff.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool to experience all these different places and the different art scenes
where did the tattooing come in?
So my best friend here, he's a really, really good tattooer, and he owns a shop here, and I've actually always wanted to learn. I mean, I'm covered in tattoos, and it's been something that I've always been interested in. And then actually with the coronavirus and everything, that kind of destroyed everything I had going on for my art stuff. So I asked him if he'd be willing to apprentice me and teach me as just another. I mean, I've always been interested in it anyways, and then also it's a backup for my art stuff. I can tattoo and do my art. So so it just seemed like it made sense.
So, I mean, tattooing's obviously on the newer end of this. Before this, what was your favorite medium to work in?
Ugh.
What was your favorite?
Hard to say. I mean, I really love doing murals a lot. I love doing public art, painting giant murals and spray paint. But then I also really love painting like gouache. I paint with gouache and watercolor. So that's probably my. They're so different. They're two very different things. Like spray painting is fun, and I love doing like giant works on walls and painting in the public and stuff. But painting in the studio with just some music on and getting like totally lost in the painting, and it's just two different experiences. But those are my two favorites, I'd say. Yeah.
Nice. A pretty common theme, it seems, through most of your art is a kind of I call them jelly brains or jelly heads.
Oh yeah, the jelly heads. Yeah.
Do you have a better name for them? I don't know.
That's actually exactly what I call them as well. The jelly heads. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a lot of, it's kind of an encapsulated world a lot of times in those too. Like it's not just like a skull inside of it. Sometimes it's, a whole other scene going on. What kind of, where was that coming from? Was that some of your escaping?
Like the first time a lot of my work just revolves around like imagination or being inside this imagination. And I had the idea of what would it be like if you could look at somebody and see inside their imagination. So I wanted to do like a translucent head where you could see the skull inside. And I like the idea of having like a regular skull with like human teeth, and then the cartoon face that does not match the skull at all. And then you could see the imagination inside. And then some of them, like the character will be holding like a sketchbook, and then the character from the imagination is popping out of the head. So it's kind of like as he draws, the imagination comes to life. It's kind of the concept.
Nice. What type of collaborations and stuff have you been able to do with some of your artwork? Because I know you get around a little bit.
I've done stuff with Vans. I've done stuff with Converse, Universal Studio Music. I've done some stuff with them. A couple other like beer brands. I've done stuff with like craft brew beer brands, clothing brands, some children clothing companies. A lot of different stuff, but it's been cool. A lot of mural work, ice cream shops, and everything you can think of. Yeah, scooter store. It's fun. It's fun to be able to do a lot of work with a lot of different kind of companies. And
have you ever ventured into like the 3D realm or the computer 3D? Or
I tried to download. I downloaded Blender and I tried it once, and it was so hard for me, like all the math involved and everything. And I tried to just do a tutorial to make like this alarm clock, and it didn't really quite look right, and it was so time consuming that I kind of gave up on it. I was like, I don't know if I could do this, but it is something that I'd be interested in. I mean, I really want to make a toy at some point. So I thought about, I actually talked to my friend, Theodoru?
Sounds familiar.
Let me see. I'll show you. Hold on. Have you seen this before?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. So he's a friend of mine in Vienna, and so he's an excellent 3D renderer, and I actually talked to him about rendering my character for me, hiring him to do it, and then try to make toys. But I've looked into it, and it's so expensive and everything. It's a big investment and a big jump. So I'm still trying to decide whether or not what to do with that. But I do want to do it.
Especially if you're having somebody else do the work, it tends to really get pricey. I mean, it's pricey enough even if you're casting your own stuff, but to have somebody else do it is.
And I've messed around with sculpting and stuff, but nothing turned, because I'm not experienced with it. It always doesn't quite turn out how I want it to turn. Like I'm not happy enough to share it or post it. So
gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, I have a solo exhibition. Hopefully with the pandemic, we're not sure when we're going to do it, but the gallery, I have a gallery that represents me here in Asia, and we're planning to do a solo show next year, probably at the end of the year, if things are back to normal. And then
They're in Malaysia?
Yeah, it's actually the owner is based here in Malaysia, but the gallery's in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh.
Oh, okay.
So I've worked with her since I lived there, and normally she takes my stuff all year round to all these big art fairs and all around Asia. And so this year everything's been canceled, which has been rough, but gives me time to work on a bunch of new stuff for a solo show. And we're going to start it in Saigon and try to show it all around Asia. And but part of that was hopefully to try to make a figure to go with the show. But
nice.
We'll see.
Nice.
We'll see.
So then what would you say the expanse of your art has been? Have you been able to go and tag things like all over the country now, or
doing murals and stuff?
Well, even like personally, like just as a I got a tag in here in Russia. I got to.
Yeah. I've done. I've painted in so many places: Vietnam, Korea, Kuala Lumpur, of course, Israel, Thailand, Hong Kong. Yeah, all over. Spain. I've been able to paint like all over, which has been pretty awesome. That's the fun thing about graffiti is even if you're not hired for something, you can leave some art.
Right.
Wherever.
Yeah, it's
funny enough.
To Detroit. Good gosh, almost 20 years ago, and that's where I kind of really started watching different graffiti artists and stuff like that. Because at that point, especially downtown Detroit, was just shambles.
Yeah.
But some of the artwork there was just amazing.
Yeah.
So
I have a friend that lives there. One of the people from my graffiti crew, actually, and especially nowadays, like you can in the past however many years, 15, 20 years, or you can just paint wherever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Actually, funny enough, Tel Aviv was like that. Especially in the neighborhood that I lived in, it was like. It was kind of awesome. It was very unexpected, but you could paint in the middle of the day. And if you're painting something nice, the cops would just drive by and wave at you. They didn't, I've never experienced something like that before. Cause here in Kuala Lumpur, it's not so easy as it was there. And there I would paint all the time on the street because it was just amazingly easy. But
yeah, that's gotta be freeing and also amazing to be able to hone your skill in something like that, where you don't have to worry about running every 20 minutes or
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, in the States, we would we would paint under train bridges or under underpasses or anywhere where there's a bridge, like if there's a creek or something. Usually, if you were to go underneath those, they'll be covered in really nice graffiti pieces. Because that's kind of the go-to spot to practice. So yeah.
Well, it's funny because growing up in Orlando, it was not. I mean, yes, technically it's illegal most places, but Orlando was the most ridiculous as far as curfews, and cops just had nothing better to do. So if you were out skateboarding in a place past 9 o'clock, they're already sending you home and wanting to write you up and stuff. And
I've never been to Florida, but it doesn't seem like such a good spot.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Disney's Disney. I have some good friends there, but I have no other reason why I would ever go back there other than that.
Where are you based now again?
I'm in Seattle.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I love Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle's a great city.
Yeah. I don't know how much longer I can afford to live here, but it is a great place to live.
Yeah. It's gotten expensive, huh?
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
Going on 12 years now.
Oh, okay. Did you ever go to Flat Color Gallery? I don't think it's around anymore, but it's an art gallery called Flat Color. A friend of mine, this guy Pars, he's a graffiti writer. He owned it.
Okay.
But I showed there before, and
nice.
It's a cool gallery. It was a lot of graffiti artist type work and street art stuff. So.
Yeah, there was a really good one in Capitol Hill. I can't remember what the name of it was though. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool.
But it is nice that art is appreciated here. I mean, still, you can't go tag anything you want to tag, but it is, there are a lot of communities where they have wall murals that they'll allow people to do. There by the college, there's been different houses that were like closed down because they were condemned, and they just let people tag them for, for as
Okay.
long as.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
Yeah, I love that
it's
city.
fairly appreciated here.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite cities. I've been there 3 times, and it's one of my favorite cities in the U.S.
It's changing a lot. It's very quickly turning into San Francisco as far as economy wise.
Sounds like Austin.
Yeah,
But,
Austin kind of changed in the same way.
yeah.
But it's still, I mean, I love the weather here. I love the climate here. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. Yeah.
How much you got air conditioning blasting where you're at? Because you're
Pretty much all the time. Yeah, it's quite tropical here, so it's very hot and humid. We only have two weathers: hot and humid, and rainy. So yeah.
It's funny because I've been to quite a few places over in that direction, but I've never been that far close to the equator. Like I haven't been to Malaysia. I've been to Thailand, but that's still quite a bit northern for where you are.
It's right above. Thailand's right above us, so it just depends on where in Thailand you went. But actually, I think the weather's quite similar to Thailand.
Yeah,
it's pretty tropical and hot. Where in Thailand did you go?
I started in. I'm getting my cities messed up. I ended in Phuket. Where did I start? Flew into the big city, into
Bangkok.
Into Bangkok,
Yeah.
And I was there for 2 or 3 days, and then went up north to
Chiang Mai. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I love Thailand. Thailand's beautiful country.
There's a huge like 4-story toy store there in Bangkok that I spent basically the whole day in.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
That's kind of like I do. A lot of my stuff that I follow, or a lot of stuff that I've been working on lately, is bootleg action figures and stuff.
Oh, cool. So,
awesome. That's kind of where I've been. Anywhere I go, I try to find. Obviously you have like Japan, where you have that whole area is just the mecca of toys.
Yeah.
But it's funny going to each country and seeing what their like niche on it is too.
Yeah.
Much like the art scene, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, what kind of stuff did you end up picking up over there?
Well, I'm usually still on a pretty good budget, so a lot of the art toys are expensive no matter where you go to, So
yeah, of course.
I am still enough into anime that there's enough anime stuff around that I can find usually something that I'll pick up that way. And then my biggest weakness is Chewbacca. I have a huge Chewbacca collection, so anytime I can find anything from other countries that's Chewbacca related, I usually try to pick up something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Star Wars in general is an interest, but I try not to span, because you could collect forever if you just collected Star Wars.
For sure,
I try to limit it.
You watching a new Mandalorian series?
Love it, man.
No, it's so good. It's so good. I feel like that's brought new life to Star Wars, which is good. So
yeah. How so you've been there for 2 years, you say. What is now? They speak English for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be. It was colonized by England, so everyone speaks English here actually, and it's a mix of cultures here. So there's like a huge Indian population, a huge native Malay population, and then a huge Chinese Malay population. And so there's 3 languages being spoke: Chinese, Malay, and then. So then everybody speaks English between the 3. So
gotcha.
And so everywhere you go, everyone speaks English. So yeah.
How is, I know in some of the Asian countries, tattoos and stuff are very not taboo, accepted or not encouraged. How is the influence there?
So here, actually, it's very Western here. Very Western. Like this is the first place I've lived where, like, I told you, I used to sing in like hardcore bands and stuff. There's a huge hardcore punk scene here. Like a DIY punk scene. There's a lot. It's a lot of like you go to the grocery store here, and the grocery store is almost like back home. So there's a lot. It's very westernized here in a lot of ways, but it's also a Muslim country. So it's like the Malay are Muslim. So and that's but not everybody. Like I told you, there's a huge Indian population, a huge Chinese population. So not everybody is Muslim, but so there's like one set of laws for the Muslim population and another set of laws for everybody else. So it's a big mix, but like tattoos, as far as like culturally, it's for the Malay, it's illegal. It's not illegal. Technically it's not illegal, but also not okay. But for like, but Chinese and Indian people a lot of people have tattoos. Not everyone, but a lot of people have tattoos. And so it's quite common, maybe not to be as heavily tattooed as I am, but like the guys I work with are super heavily tattooed and stuff. And then you also have Borneo, like everybody from Borneo, which is also part of Malaysia. And they're like tattooing is part of the culture, like, you know, Borneo tattooing,
more of a tribal
tattooing. Like one of the guys I work with is from there. And, but like, so like tattoos aren't such a big deal here as compared to say, Korea or Japan.
Right.
But even there, I think the attitudes are starting to change with the younger.
Yeah, it seems like it is.
Yeah. Like I had a friend in Korea who owned a tattoo shop, and they had to hide their tattoo shops and stuff. Like it all had to be like underground and like kind of hidden. And because they had a law, this ridiculous law that you have to have a doctor's medical license to tattoo.
Yeah.
Which like who's going to get a medical license to tattoo,
right.
You know? So, but yeah, in Vietnam also it's not as looked down upon. In Vietnam, a lot of people have tattoos. I have a bunch of friends there who are tattooers, actually, really good ones. And but some people think you're a gangster still. Like it's like maybe if you're like super super local person who isn't like maybe knows so much about the world and tattooing and stuff. People will be like, they'll think it's gangster related. Even here a little bit, some people can be that way. Or they'll think you're rich. Because tattoos are expensive. So if you're covered in tattoos, you must be really rich.
Right.
Yeah.
You're rolling with Beckham and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. For sure. So.
Well, this is a good question then. So obviously tattoo culture has exploded here in the States. Do you think it's reached its apex, or do you think it's going to just get even more out there?
I don't know. I mean, to me, like I have a weird, like I started getting tattooed when I was 18, around 2000.
Right.
And it was still pretty taboo, you know, like, especially in Texas, you know, or whatever, like where, I mean, it's cool. It's kind of nice that it's not as taboo, and it's good for tattooers to make more money and stuff. But also I kind of miss that not everybody has them or whatever. And it's not like the TV shows and all of that stuff. I think it's pretty awful. Like I really don't like a lot of that kind of stuff. So, but I mean, as far as the art form, I mean, it always can grow and change, I guess. But I like traditional tattoos personally. It's stylistically, it's my thing. I kind of I prefer that. But I mean, I guess who knows where it can go and everything, but I think there's good and bad with it being so popular and it not. But like,
I wonder if in 10 years, if the tattoo removal business will be like the business to have.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, actually tattoo removal is right now, unless they come up with some new technology, it's way more painful than getting the tattoo. And it doesn't even always work. The laser thing, you have to you have to laser your tattoo sometimes like 5 times or something. Like you laser it and then you come back in like 6 months and then laser it again and then come back in 6 months and laser it again. And then over time it breaks the ink down.
It's like exploding the ink under your skin. It's
it's pretty gnarly. It's supposed to hurt really bad. I haven't gotten it done, but I've heard it hurts really, really bad. So anyone out there who's thinking about getting a tattoo and thinking they remove it later, it's not really how it works. You're better off to lighten it a little bit with some lasers and then go over it again. If you're not happy with it, just lighten it and put something new on top, the chances of actually removing it aren't very good.
Yeah.
But
They have those printable ones now that are actually pretty convincing.
oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, being someone who's been gotten tattooed since I was 18, I definitely have tattoos that I've gotten covered up or whatever. And part of the reason I have so many tattoos is I have a lot of friends who are tattooers. Like coming from graffiti, a lot of graffiti writers become tattooers because it's kind of similar, bold outlines, everything. And so it makes sense. And so I have a lot of tattoos from my friends. So I a lot of them were free or whatever. So I didn't have to spend all the money that you have to invest into it. But
do you
got lucky in that way.
Do you fall into the this guy only does this sleeve, or this guy only does, you know, this part of my work?
No,
or...
I kind of collect. For me, a lot of my tattoos, like I said, a lot of my friends are tattooers, so I like collecting artwork from my friends. So a lot of my tattoos are like different pieces from different friends, or whatever. And some of them are just artwork I liked from my friend. Some of them are memories from places, especially as we've been traveling now overseas for a while. I have this crab that I got. One of my friends was visiting. He's a tattooer, and he tattooed me and 5 of my other friends who every Tuesday in Vietnam we would go eat crab on the street together. And it was coming to the end of me living there, so we all got matching crab tattoos to commemorate our time there. And so I have tattoos like that as well that mean something. Or I just got a tattoo of my cat recently who passed away. Yeah. So it's Spaz. She was 18. She lived a long life, and she lived with us in all these different countries. She got a pretty good life for a cat. So, but I commemorated her with a tattoo. So some of them are have meaning and stuff, and some of them are like you said, Flaming Skull, just punk rock tattoos or whatever that I got that I liked at the time or whatever. And even those, like, even if I'm not so into like that anymore, I still like it. It was a time in my life or memory or whatever. It's okay, you know.
I have plenty of t-shirts that I've hung on to and tried to like sew back together and stuff like that from, you know, Bad Brain shows and stuff.
Man. Actually, I have a blanket. My Amber sent off a bunch of my old t-shirts that wouldn't fit me anymore because my old age got chubby, and she sent them off to a place that makes a blanket. So I have a punk shirt blanket.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounds like we kind of came up in a similar kind of way. Skateboarding, punk rock. Toys.
I think I might have a couple years on you. I'm 45.
Okay, I'm 39. I just turned 39 actually on the 17th. So,
but it doesn't mean that I wasn't, you know, into the same stuff. I was much more East Coast as far as punk than I was West. I never got into the whole surf vibe. I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody loves a little circle jerks here and there and a little, you know.
Yeah.
But East Coast was much more my scene just because I lived on that side. So those would be the people that would come down and tour, and they would hit Georgia and once in a while pop into Orlando, but usually I would have to go like up into Atlanta, or I'd have to go into the Pensacola area to catch shows.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't go all the way south.
There's some...
and then I would head over to you.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, there's some... there's actually a few Florida bands. There's a band, you know, Asshole Parade? Have you ever heard of them? Yeah. They're from Florida. I really like them a lot. But
it's funny, just because I don't travel in those circles so much anymore. But you can hear like a resurgence of styles a little bit, and a little resurgence of what's going on in the world is causing that to reestablish itself. You know, there's a lot of things going on right now that a lot of people are pretty upset with. So a lot of that music is starting to really kind of show up again.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, whenever bad stuff happens, good art happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah.
People have to express themselves somehow.
Yeah.
Have you found yourself over the years? I mean, obviously your skills have been honed and stuff like that, but have you found yourself reverting back to any like things you used to draw, like trying to redo them? Or
actually recently I was looking at a bunch of my old paintings, that I did when I first started trying to paint with like watercolors and stuff. Because I did like I said, I did graffiti. Like I was really into graffiti for a long time, and I always kind of like doodled characters and stuff, but I never really tried to do anything with them. I just painted letters. And then I met my partner, and she encouraged me to try to paint them. And she gave me watercolors and stuff. And this was in 2009. So that first time I ever did a watercolor painting was in 2009, and I just got obsessed with it. So I have an obsessive personality. If I get into something, I get like super into it. And so I have some paintings from back then that I really like the characters and concepts that I think I'm thinking about redoing them, especially for this new series of paintings I'm doing for this solo show. I'm thinking about bringing some of that into that. But
it'd be pretty cool. Look forward to that.
Yeah.
What, as far as, do you have, I mean, I suppose what's available for you there is different completely than what's available for here as far as art supplies and.
Oh, actually,
like
that's another thing about Malaysia. Like Malaysia is like amazing in that way that you have everything. Like the art store here is insane. Like there's a huge art store at the mall called Art Friend, and it has everything in the world that you could need. The only thing that I can't get here is this acrylic gouache that I use. I don't know if you've ever seen this or use it. It's Holbein acrylic gouache. There's one art store that has it, but they only sell it in these sets that has like all the basic colors, which I don't need. So whenever I need to get more gouache, I have to order it online, which isn't that big of a deal. But everything else you can get here. But when I was in Vietnam, the art store was like in one of those storefronts with like a garage door, and you go in and everything is just like in boxes on the floor. Everything is like, it's not like a legit art store, So there it was a lot more tough. Or like Korea had decent art stores too, but also you couldn't get everything that I needed. But here the art stores are amazing. So
I could see Korea also being like weirdly expensive for that stuff.
Yeah, it was it was expensive, and actually, in Tel Aviv was very expensive. Everything there was expensive though. Like a beer at the bar will be like $10. So yeah, it was crazy. The cost.
How is drinking there with the kind of pseudo Muslim influence?
So they have a tax on alcohol here, so it's a little more expensive than say Thailand or Vietnam, where in Vietnam you could drink a beer on the street for 50 cents or whatever,
Right.
But like here, it's not that way. Here would be closer to the prices back home, which but like as compared to like everything else, the cost of living here, it's fine. It's whatever. Yeah. I don't mind to pay like the regular price,
Yeah, when you're paying $3 for a good meal,
exactly.
$10 for a beer is no big deal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And the local food here is amazing too, actually. With the mix of cultures, like you have the Malay food, you can get amazing Chinese food, you can get amazing Indian food. So you get like everything. And then there's a lot of Western food here because of the Western influence as well. But
is it a spicier palate there? Or?
Spicy, yeah. Like the Malay food is spicy, yeah. A lot of sambal and stuff. So yeah, but. And a lot of it has Malay food, not all of it, but a lot of it has little anchovies in it, which I don't like.
Oh,
I don't mess with anchovies. Too salty. Yeah.
Well, I guess fishing is going to be part of their culture, so I guess that's where that's coming in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've ever eaten, because
I don't think Malay food's very common outside of Malaysia. Like. No. I had never.
I'm sure there's some similar stuff here and there, but
but before moving here, or before moving to the area, I mean, when we lived in Vietnam, we visited here and stuff, but I had never even thought of Malaysia. I think it's a place that's very overlooked. Like
I can see that.
People are coming to Asia on a trip. They'll go to Thailand and Cambodia and Vietnam, or maybe to hit Laos or something. But a lot of people skip Malaysia or don't really think about it. But
well, and then there's also the whole how uneducated we are as far as Americans go, as far as travel. You say Asia, and it's it's like, China or Japan.
Yeah. Oh man, I have my sister's husband. He's a prison guard, and we don't really like click really,
See
you
eye to
know.
eye.
But he no matter where we've lived, we come home. So how's it in China? And I'm like, we don't live in China. I've told you this a lot of times. Like he just all of Asia is China to him, you know. It's like
right. Really confusing when they bring up like any of the stuff going on in my brain's the Indian countries and stuff like that, where a lot of that's all China or Asia also.
Oh
and
yeah,
that's,
yeah,
you know,
like India and
completely
Pakistan.
blows their head.
Yeah, all of that, and even like the Middle East is technically still Asia. You know, it's all Asia.
Right.
You know, yeah. But yeah, when people think of Asian people, they would think only people from China or Japan, but like actually Indians and everyone else, it's all Asia. It's all Asia.
Yeah. That's what I've liked about Seattle is there is quite a good mix of nationality here. I mean, especially with Microsoft and some of the tech companies, it's brought in even more. So you can get a pretty good selection of different varieties of food and stuff here, and good quality, you know. Like, yeah, sure, you can get mall Chinese food also, but there's, you know, real Chinese places. There's real, you know, Thai places. There's real, you know, Filipino here too.
Dallas is surprisingly like that. Dallas is.
Yeah, I can see that.
And my grandparents live in a city called Plano, and it's super diverse there, and you can get every kind of food, which is pretty cool. Yeah. That's one of the good things about the U.S. Like the mix of cultures, you can get all kinds of food and all kinds of experience. I mean, if you want to, depending on where you are in the U.S. Right. But yeah. So.
So it's been interesting seeing as far as where you've done some of your work. I've seen, you know, just as far as basically I followed you through Instagram, you know, a little bit here and there. I'll pop out if you have an external article, I'll go and read that or something like that. But I've been following you for probably, I don't know, about 3 years now.
Oh, cool.
As far as Instagram goes. And I've always been really impressed with your stuff. I tend to lean towards the cartoony myself. So it's always been enjoying seeing that part of your world. How are you as far as when you're collaborating with someone where they're not kind of in that cartoon verse that you're in? Is that something that you try to adjust your art a little bit, or just kind of?
That's a hard thing, like collaborating on murals and stuff. I think like that's one of the things I like the most about graffiti and stuff is like working. It's kind of cool that two different voices can work together and you paint a wall. And with styles and stuff though, I feel like it either really works, or if you're speaking two different languages too much, it's just not going to work. And there's ways you can make it work, but you have to be able to like both mesh in that way, I guess. But for me, I kind of just do what I do. I try not to like, I mean, I don't really change it.
You don't want to step on toes, but
I'll like, but like if there's a way to try to make it work with someone else who's totally different, I'll maybe I would do the background, and if they're gonna do or something like that where it's like not too contrasting or whatever. But for the most part, I think most of the people I've collaborated with are more similar-ish to what I do, where we could speak the same kind of language. But I think it's fun.
As long as you can kind of pull the same colors a lot of times too.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot. Yeah. If you use the same colors or or like one person does one part, like the background, like I said, or one person does this, like it can work. But but it's fun. That's one of the fun things about graffiti is collaboration aspect, I think.
And you mentioned you got a show coming up. Anything else we should be looking for from you, or?
Doing that. I'm just started. Just actually today, I have talked to this company. I'm going to start doing animated GIFs for, which would be cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is fun. Those are fun. I've gotten really into making those recently, especially with Procreate. Being able to just draw in the app, or I don't know if do you use Procreate at all, or?
I've dabbled a little bit, not enough to do anything more with it, anything professional with it or anything.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fun. It's amazing to be able to draw just straight on the iPad. I had a Wacom for a while, and I just could not, like staring at the screen and then drawing down here.
Dust back here.
What's that?
I have one collecting dust.
Yeah, exactly. Like I bought one and I tried to use it like for a little bit, and then it just collected dust. I never used it. And with the iPad, it's amazing that now that we can just draw straight on or whatever. And so I've gotten really into making animated GIFs, and I post them on Giphy, and I got someone reach out to me, so they're gonna hire me to start doing GIFs with them, which is cool. Which is some much needed work in this hard times. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I'm working on, actually I can show you, I'm working on this giant painting right now.
Sweet.
And it's actually part of a triptych, like 3 giant paintings like this that'll make one big painting. Doing that. And I've also been, in this downtime, been working on finishing this comic that I've started a long time ago, like a black and white, just like a black and white comic. Just my drawings. I've started it forever ago, and it was always just a side project. Like, I work on it when I can, and now I'm trying to
remember. Did you throw up some color pages when the pandemic first started? I'm trying to remember.
I've made comics in the past, like just comic strips, and like color comic strips. But this is something different. This is just black and white drawings, and I think I might just keep it that way. Just keep them black and white. And
I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, a bunch of the different artists that I follow all threw like just some blank pages up for people to color. And
the coloring book. Yes, I did do a coloring book. Yeah. I did a digital coloring book. When the pandemic started, I thought it was something fun to do, and but this one's like an actual, like a comic book, like a little story, like a weird little comic book, but. Yeah, I'm trying to force myself to finish projects that I haven't, that I never finished.
It's really easy to have too much downtime in this. I mean, that's kind of why I started this podcast, was I've been unemployed since March, and I just needed to start doing something. And I follow all these amazing people, and so I figured, why not try to hear some of their story and hear, let some other people kind of see the cool stuff that I've been following for a while.
Oh, that's cool. What were you doing for work?
I was a manager at a restaurant in a hotel right by the convention center.
Okay. So that got.
So conventions actually stopped around December. And then we shut down the restaurant in February, and it's just nothing since then. So.
Oh man, that's rough. Well, hopefully.
I get unemployment. It's okay. It's not terrible.
Taking time to focus on your action figures.
Yeah, I've been able to do some more art stuff.
What kind of bootleg action figures are you making? You said you're making bootleg action figures?
Well, let's see. I'll do a little pre-reveal here. So little things like I have a Ghidorah that
nice.
And then this will have...
Are those shoes?
Yeah, so it'll have Yoshi heads, and it'll be a 3-headed Yoshi,
Oh, awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, very cool. So you're taking like different toys and mashing them together, basically.
Right, so I'm doing that, but I'm also starting to play with, where's my body? Some epoxy sculpt stuff, and just starting to like make my own creatures.
Oh, cool.
A little focus there. Okay. But yeah,
like a little dinosaur dude.
Yeah,
cool.
Just learning to play with it. Really, I'd never done a whole lot of sculpting growing up, and nothing as far as mold making goes. So this is a whole new venture to try to hone some of those skills.
Very cool. The 3-headed Yoshi looks like it'll be pretty awesome. Yeah, that's a cool concept. That's a good one.
Yeah. Well, Nintendo and Godzilla. How can you ever go wrong with any of that?
Sure. Yeah. That's really cool.
But there's so much of that art toy stuff out there. It's hard not to step on somebody's toes. So I'm constantly like, did somebody already do this? Is this an idea that
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well.
And even if I don't make money off it, at least I'm doing something with it.
Yeah, I mean, to me. Personally, with art and stuff, like if you go into it with like, I'm doing this to make money, then you're probably doing it for the wrong reasons, and you should just give up now, because you're very lucky if you manage to make money from it. Like, I feel very lucky that I've managed to make money from my art, but I don't ever want to let the quest to make money for it ruin making it. You know what I mean? Like, it keeps me sane. This is my, like, you know, like I think it's sad if when people like care too much, or like, you know, I have friends who really care about, or I have one friend in particular who cares a little bit too much about likes on Instagram and all, and like, and it's like, man, who cares about that? It's exactly. It's an algorithm and whatever. Like, maybe one post will get a lot of attention, maybe another one. It doesn't. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, tomorrow, Instagram, the internet could be gone forever. And
right, exactly.
Just focus on what's important, the making of what you're doing. Enjoy what you're doing. You know. Yeah. But
have you, with any of your art, found stuff that, like, okay, I'll do this because this pays the bill, and this allows me to do what I actually love? Is there something like that you've kind of found a happy balance between? Or
I mean, I can also do graphic design stuff, so like logos and whatever else, and like stuff like that. So like, I mean, I've done stuff like that I don't necessarily enjoy as much, just to make some money or whatever, which is fine. And but for the most part, I've been very fortunate that a lot of the time, a lot of the work I've gotten is like, people, they like what I do, and they're like, hey, I wanted you to. Will you design a label for my beer company that's just what you do, and I trust you, do whatever you want or whatever. And,
nice.
Which is I feel fortunate that I've had that. But then sometimes, of course, you know, I'll do stuff I don't necessarily am as excited about. But that's a hard thing. Yeah, like sometimes I'll make something and I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
And I'll post it and it'll be like, oh, no one really cared about this thing. And another thing I'll post and I don't really like, and people are like, oh, this is awesome and great. And you're like, oh, okay. But, you know, at the same time, like, whatever, like I try very hard to like, not let stuff like that affect, like my self-worth and as an artist is more important of like what I like. Like, if I make it and it makes me happy, then okay. If other people like it, then that's a plus. Cause like, I worked in retail for a long time. I was a manager at a Target store, and I hated life and I hated it. And I would come home from work and I would paint all night and paint. And then that was my like happy place. So I've always kept the attitude that if I let that get ruined by other people's opinions and whatever, then what does that do for me? You know? So, but I understand that that's not so easy for everybody to have that attitude, though, you know.
How does your work translate into tattooing? Are you able to use some of the same like
imagery and
shading
stuff?
And all?
So actually, with tattooing, I'm learning to do like traditional style, American traditional style tattoos, and
like Sailor Jerry kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm trying to keep some aspects of what I do in that. I can show you if you want to see some of my tattoo flash. But I've got like super traditional, regular stuff like tiger head, and I feel like there's elements of myself in there, like there's an alligator, but it's a lot of heavy black.
It's more fantasy, but it's in that traditional style.
Yeah, and like heavy, you have to use a lot of black, but there's like a little monster character that's kind of similar to stuff I do. But then I also do like super traditional stuff, like like this, like
okay,
like I don't know,
for sure.
It's pretty like snakes, roses, you know, like so. It's I'm trying to do a little bit of both, keep myself, but then also learn how to, I mean, it's been kind of fun learning how to draw and in a different way, but still keep some of myself in it. Like how to do traditional rose, or how to do like, you know, and a swallow or whatever, you know, like, but you know,
you're not jumping right into trying to recreate somebody's grandson or something like that.
No. Like this, like a traditional, like, swallow with a rose, like I'm trying to start with the base of like of you know, where it came from, like Sailor Jerry flash and everything, and then like so I'll learn that and then add a little bit of myself into it.
You can skip over the Ed Hardy and go to something else if you want.
So just but it's been a fun process, and fun to kind of draw in a different way than I normally draw, but because in a
there any
tattoo, especially in different type of people's skin, you can't use all the colors that I use. Like I can't, and it might not work as a tattoo. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just, it's cool to be creative in another way. You know?
Gotcha.
It doesn't have to be the same as my art.
I just had some. Oh, as far as licensing, is there any for tattooing and stuff? Is there any licensing you have to have there? Or?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, you just can tattoo it. Like if somebody comes in and wants like Super Mario Brothers character or whatever, you just draw it up in your own paint.
I meant more of like, does the city require anything?
Oh, I was like with art licensing. I was like, no. Oh, but no, not here. No, there's not. No.
Yeah.
Like in the U.S., I didn't even think of that. That you have to have a license for it because in Asia is the Wild West, you know what I mean? Like in a lot of ways, you don't. It depends on where you are. You don't have to have a license and stuff like that. You know? And tattooing is kind of like a rebel thing, anyways. Even if you had to have one, I don't think a lot of people would probably do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, of the tattoo artists I know, like 90%, those are some of the cleanest like people in the world. I mean, it's almost like a doctor thing.
It is. Like that's half of like learning, like working at the shop and stuff. Most of it, what I've been learning, like what I focus on, I mean, some of it is the drawing and learning how to draw for a tattoo and how much black should be in there and what will work to keep the tattoo looking good forever. But then most of it is all of the like sanitary stuff, like how to set up the station, how to take down the station, how to like clean, how to use this, how to clean everything and how to sterilize everything, and but it is kind of that way.
I think the jailhouse tattoo scene is pretty far gone at this point.
Yeah, well, you would think, but there's a whole culture of these young kids who just do stick and poke tattoos on each other, and like are order machines off the internet, off Amazon or whatever, and then just tattoo like, and it's almost like a whole anti-style type vibe where like the art is purposely not very good, and like there's a whole culture of this, like that's like kind of like hipster-y, but like people covering themselves in like stick and pokes and bad line tattoos and just doing it in the living room and everything. It's kind of wild. I'm like, what do you got? Like, what do you one day you're going to be like 40 and being like, why did I cover myself in, but maybe they won't. Maybe they'll love it. Who knows? But
who knows?
I shouldn't be too judgmental about it, but for me, I feel a little bit weird about that.
Was your first tattoo in an actual shop, or was it a buddy?
It was in a shop. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was in a shop.
Yeah. I got it when I was 18. Right after my mom passed away when I was 18 from her alcoholism. And she always really against me getting tattoos. She never wanted me to get tattoos. She let me dye my hair and be dressed punk and whatever, but she didn't want me to get tattoos. But I always wanted to get them anyways. I knew I was going to get them. But when she passed away, I actually, I was straight edge until I was 26. Not like hard, not like, or 24. I was 24, I think. But I wasn't like militant or something. Like I sang in punk bands with like a hardcore band with all my friends drank and whatever. But it just was a personal thing because of how I grew up. And so when she passed away, I went kind of crazy and I got Poison Free tattooed across my chest. Which in hindsight wasn't probably the best idea. Well, we were talking about that earlier, when you're 18, what you want. Yeah. And when I turned 24, I just kind of at that point was like, oh, I want to see what the big deal is. I feel like I'm old enough now that I can do it and it's not going to take control of my life. And so then I started drinking and I got the tattoo covered up. I got that tattoo covered up with a big old giant chest tattoo. But yeah, that was my first tattoo, a big straight edge tattoo. So,
yeah, one of my first interviews was Kris Jacobson, and he was straight edge, and he has quite a few, random X's on his arms.
Yeah, I've got here on my wrist. I've got 3 X's, straight edge tattoo. Which even now I don't care. Like I don't regret it. I can look at it now, and that was like a big part of my being for like since I was from 13 on. I was. growing up in Syracuse, like I got into straight edge hardcore bands and stuff, and that was a part of who I was. And actually, I think it saved me. I'm glad I didn't start drinking as a young kid, because it runs in my family.
I know I also have friends that have died of heroin and stuff like that.
Same.
Because they started, started at that age, that same age where you were starting straight edge, they were starting drugs, just going completely off the far end.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things that is like, well, maybe there should have been more straight edge punks out there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I actually have way too, in graffiti culture, especially, there's a lot of drug use and stuff. So I have probably 9 friends who died from heroin, and it's a terrible thing. Addiction's a terrible thing. But I mean, that in that way, I'm glad that I was straight edge as a kid, because also my younger sister, she struggled with addiction her since, because she kind of went down that same path as our parents did. And for me, I tried to like learn from their mistakes. So I'm glad that I was straight edge as a kid, and now I can drink, and I'll like go out with friends and have some drinks or whatever. I don't like drink every day,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Man, this has been really fun. This has been a cool interview.
Yeah.
I'm glad I reached out to you. I wasn't exactly sure, because sometimes people are quite busy. We'll just put it that way.
Sure.
And
yeah.
I was glad you accepted that.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's been awesome. I'm always open to chat and talk. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you've actually even watched an interview or two.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, man. I watched a couple of them. It was cool.
Yeah.
It's nice, man.
Nice.
It's cool. Good luck with your endeavors, and